Texas, the Lone Star State, vast, wild, and steeped in rich history. It is a land where legends and lore mingled with the restless spirits of the past. From the dusty plains to the bustling city streets, whispers of ghostly encounters echo through old mansions, abandoned prisons, forgotten battlegrounds, and eerie hotels. Tonight, we embark on a chilling journey to explore the 20 most haunted places in Texas, locations where paranormal activity has been witnessed. Unexplained sounds haunt the night, and shadowy figures roam without rest. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, these haunted hotspots reveal a darker side to Texas history, one filled with tragedy, mystery, and unearthly happenings. So dim the lights, turn up your speakers, and prepare to step beyond the veil as we explore Texas' haunted heart. Are you ready to face the ghosts of the past? Standing tall and proud in the heart of downtown Austin, the Driskill Hotel has been a symbol of elegance, history, and Southern hospitality since it first opened its doors in 1886. Named after Jesse Driskill, a wealthy cattleman who envisioned a luxurious refuge in the rapidly growing city, the hotel was built with grandeur in mind. Its Romanesque architecture, sweeping staircases, and ornate details quickly made it one of the most prestigious addresses in Texas. But beneath the shimmering surface of chandeliers and polished marble floors, the Driskill holds a secret, a darker, more unsettling presence that has whispered through its halls for over a century. Jesse Driskill himself is central to many of the ghost stories that swirl around the hotel. After investing his fortune into creating what was meant to be his crowning achievement, Jesse's life ended abruptly and tragically. While it is said he passed away elsewhere, his spirit, some claim, never left the hotel he built. Guests and staff have reported sightings of a tall, distinguished gentleman dressed in Victorian-era clothing wandering the corridors, particularly on the hotel's 4th floor. This figure, many say, is Jesse Driskill, eternally watching over his creation. The 4th floor is considered by many to be the epicenter of paranormal activity in the hotel. Reports of cold spots are common, pockets of icy chill in otherwise warm rooms, and inexplicable noises echo in the empty hallways. Guests who have stayed in room 450 and nearby suites often tell chilling stories of footsteps pacing outside their doors in the dead of night, only for no one to be found upon inspection. Others have awakened to find their doors slightly ajar, despite locking them before bed. The feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes lingering in the shadows, is a recurring theme. One of the most famous tales comes from a 1930s guest named Willard, who was a businessman staying overnight. Willard claimed he woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of a man walking the hallway outside his room. Peering through the peephole, he saw a figure in a long coat and hat, pacing slowly. When Willard opened the door to confront him, the figure vanished into thin air. Since then, many have experienced similar phantom footsteps and fleeting glimpses of shadowy shapes. Another unsettling story involves the grand lobby, where a spectral woman in a flowing white dress has been spotted. Some guests say she appears near the grand staircase, her expression mournful, as if searching for someone lost to time. The identity of this ghostly figure remains a mystery, though some speculate she might be a bride who met a tragic fate or a heartbroken visitor forever trapped in sorrow. The hotel's rich history, intertwined with personal tragedies and fleeting romances, provides fertile ground for such tales. Staff members also report strange happenings. Hotel employees have described objects moving on their onkeys, sliding across counters, lights flickering without cause, and the occasional door creaking open when no one is near. One longtime housekeeper, Maria, told of hearing whispers calling her name while cleaning an empty room late at night. Others have seen fleeting glimpses of figures disappearing around corners or sensed sudden drops in temperature. These experiences have led many employees to develop a deep respect and sometimes fear of the hotel's supernatural residents. Paranormal investigators have visited the Driskill numerous times, drawn by its reputation and numerous reports. Using infrared cameras and EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recorders, they have captured unexplained phenomena. Whispers and faint voices have been picked up during audio sessions, and ghostly orbs occasionally appear on camera footage in the hallways and rooms known for activity. Temperature sensors frequently detect cold spots that have no logical explanation. These findings have only added to the legend, making the Driskill a popular destination not only for tourists but also for ghost hunters eager to witness the paranormal firsthand. But the hauntings at the Driskill are not all terrifying. Some guests have shared stories of comforting presences. Several visitors recount waking to find an unseen hand gently brushing back their hair or feeling a protective warmth during restless nights. Others say that the ghost of Jesse Driskill himself seems to watch over them, offering a silent reassurance in the midst of the eerie occurrences. This duality, both unsettling and strangely comforting, gives the hotel its unique character. The Driskill's paranormal reputation has woven itself into the fabric of Austin's culture. The hotel embraces its ghostly tales, offering ghost tours that allow visitors to explore the haunted corners and learn the stories behind them. These tours often highlight not just the supernatural, but also the hotel's historical significance as a gathering place for politicians, musicians, and celebrities throughout Texas history. Yet even those simply staying overnight can't help but feel the weight of the past lingering in the air. Over the decades, the Driskill has witnessed everything from lavish parties to somber funerals, political deals to whispered secrets in dimly lit corridors. It has been a silent witness to both the triumphs and tragedies of those who crossed its threshold. The ghosts that roam its halls are believed by many to be echoes of these moments, memories etched into the very walls. Despite the passage of time and the modernization around it, the Driskill remains a place where history and mystery coexist. Whether you are a skeptic or a believer, the stories and experiences of those who have spent time within its walls suggest that some spirits refuse to rest. The Grand Hotel continues to be a living monument to Texas heritage and, perhaps, a home to its restless souls. Visitors often leave the Driskill with mixed feelings, awed by its beauty, intrigued by its history, and unsettled by the inexplicable events they may have witnessed. It is a place where luxury meets the supernatural, where every creak and shadow tells a story, and where the past never truly fades away. For those brave enough to spend a night at the Driskill Hotel, the experience is unforgettable. Behind the grandeur and elegance lies a legacy of lingering spirits and whispered secrets, waiting for the next guest to notice the subtle signs that some things are never really gone. Few places in Texas carry as much historical significance and emotional weight as the Alamo, located in the heart of San Antonio. This historic mission became the site of one of the most famous and brutal battles in the fight for Texas independence. In 1836, a small group of Texan defenders faced overwhelming Mexican forces in a siege that ended with the deaths of nearly all the defenders. The sacrifice of those who fought has since made the Alamo a symbol of courage, resilience, and freedom. But beyond the history books and patriotic stories lies a more mysterious legacy, one of restless spirits and eerie hauntings that continue to capture the imagination of visitors and locals alike. The Battle of the Alamo was a desperate last stand. Defenders, including legendary figures like Davy Crockett, William B. Travis, and James Bowie, held the old mission against Santa Anna's army for 13 days. The fighting was fierce, and when the Mexican forces finally breached the walls, the defenders were overwhelmed and killed. Hundreds lost their lives in the stone courtyard and inside the chapel, their stories frozen in time. It is said that this violent history left a spiritual imprint on the land, and many believe that the ghosts of those who died there have never truly left. Visitors to the Alamo often report strange experiences, especially after the sun sets and the crowds dissipate. Employees working late or overnight security guards have shared stories of hearing faint footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Some have heard the distant clatter of musket fire and the low murmur of voices, as if the siege were silently replaying itself in spectral form. These sounds sometimes come with sudden drops in temperature, unexplained cold spots where the chill seems to seep into the bones. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the appearance of ghostly soldiers. These apparitions have been described as wearing full period uniforms, including the wide-brimmed hats and rifles typical of early 19th century Texan militia or Mexican army troops. Witnesses say these figures move quietly through the chapel and courtyard, sometimes standing silently as if guarding the grounds, other times reenacting small parts of the battle, loading rifles, pacing, or even collapsing as if wounded. Employees have recounted stories of shadowy figures appearing near the chapel altar, disappearing when approached. Visitors claim to have felt sudden, inexplicable touches on their arms or shoulders, only to turn and find no one there. Some have seen fleeting glimpses of faces peering from behind pillars or windows, their expressions a mix of determination and sorrow. One particularly chilling story comes from a nighttime security guard who was patrolling the grounds. As he walked past the chapel, he suddenly heard the unmistakable sound of armor clinking and swords being drawn. Looking toward the chapel, he saw a ghostly figure standing in front of the altar, dressed in a Mexican officer's uniform, silently watching him. The guard reported feeling a wave of sadness and fatigue wash over him, as if the spirit carried the weight of the battle's horrors. When he blinked, the figure vanished. In addition to visual and auditory phenomena, the Alamo is also known for unexplained electrical disturbances. Security systems and cameras occasionally malfunction in certain areas, especially near the chapel and the Long Barrack Museum. Some believe that the intense emotional energy left behind by the siege interferes with electronics, though no scientific explanation has been confirmed. Local legends also tell of specific spirits tied to individual figures from the battle. Davy Crockett, for example, is said to haunt the grounds, sometimes appearing as a tall, rugged man wearing a coonskin cap. Witnesses describe seeing him near the mission's garden area, where he is believed to have prayed before the final assault. Others claim to hear his voice calling out to comrades or singing a haunting folk tune. William B. Travis, who famously drew a line in the sand, asking his men to choose whether to stay and fight or leave, is also associated with ghostly sightings. People have reported feeling an intense presence near his former quarters and hearing whispered commands in the stillness of the night. Some say the spirit of Travis remains, eternally bound to the place where he made his last stand. Even beyond the chapel and mission grounds, the surrounding area carries an eerie atmosphere. Nearby streets and alleyways have been sites of strange lights and unexplained shadows, often attributed to wandering spirits unable to move on. Paranormal investigators have visited repeatedly, drawn by the numerous reports of ghostly activity. While some findings have been inconclusive, many have recorded EVP, electronic voice phenomena, capturing faint voices that sound like cries for help or commands shouted in Spanish and English. Despite the many reports of hauntings, the Alamo remains one of the most visited historical landmarks in Texas, attracting millions each year. For some, the paranormal stories add an extra layer of fascination, a haunting reminder that history is alive in more ways than one. Others visit simply to pay respects to the bravery and sacrifice of those who fought and died there. The legacy of the Alamo is complex, a mixture of heroism, tragedy, and mystery. It stands as a monument not only to Texas independence, but also as a reminder of the lives lost and the spirits that may linger. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the stories and experiences shared by so many cannot be easily dismissed. For those brave enough to explore the mission at night or to listen closely during quiet moments, the Alamo offers a unique window into the past, a place where echoes of muskets and shadowy figures remind us that some histories refuse to be forgotten. The restless spirits of the Alamo serve as an eternal testament to the price of freedom and the enduring power of memory. The Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas, once stood as a shining jewel of luxury and healing during the roaring 1920s and early 1930s. Known for its majestic architecture, elegant ballrooms, and therapeutic mineral waters, the hotel attracted celebrities, politicians, and wealthy guests seeking rest and recovery. Nestled near the famous mineral wells, Mineral Springs, which were believed to hold miraculous curative powers, the Baker Hotel became a destination for those hoping to regain their health and enjoy the finer things in life. Built in 1929, at the height of the mineral water craze, the Baker Hotel was designed as a grand resort, complete with over 200 lavish guest rooms, a spa, a casino, and a variety of entertainment venues. Guests came from all over the country, eager to soak in the healing waters and partake in the social scene. The hotel buzzed with life, lavish parties, theatrical performances, and the mingling of high society created an atmosphere of glamour and excitement. For a time, it seemed the Baker Hotel would remain the crown jewel of mineral wells forever. However, the Great Depression dealt a heavy blow to the resort. As economic hardship spread, fewer visitors could afford the luxury of the Baker Hotel. Though it managed to stay open for several more decades, the golden age of the hotel gradually faded, changing medical opinions about mineral water treatments, competition from other destinations, and evolving tastes in vacationing contributed to its decline. By the early 1970s, the Baker Hotel finally closed its doors, leaving behind a hauntingly silent monument to a bygone era. Today, the once grand hotel stands abandoned and decaying. Its broken windows, crumbling plaster, and peeling paint serve as a stark reminder of faded glory. But the true legacy of the Baker Hotel is not just its architectural ruin. It is the tragic tales and paranormal reports that have made it one of Texas' most haunted locations. Stories of ghostly encounters at the Baker Hotel have circulated among locals, curious visitors, and paranormal investigators for years. Many claim the spirits of former guests, employees, and even the hotel's original owners still roam the halls, trapped by unfinished business or bound to the hotel by the intense emotions of its past. One of the most frequently told ghost stories centers around the mysterious lady in red. Numerous visitors have reported seeing a woman dressed in a flowing red gown, gliding silently through the hallways and ballrooms. She is said to appear especially near the old dining room and the mezzanine. Some believe she was a former guest who died tragically in the hotel, while others think she might be a performer from the hotel's entertainment era, eternally replaying her final moments. Witnesses describe her as both beautiful and sorrowful, her presence accompanied by a cold draft or the faint scent of perfume. In addition to the lady in red, shadowy figures have been spotted throughout the building. Some appear as indistinct silhouettes, moving behind broken doors or along the grand staircase. Others are seen standing in dark corners, watching silently before disappearing when approached. Security guards who have been assigned to the hotel in more recent years have reported hearing footsteps echoing through empty corridors, doors slamming shut on their own, and strange noises like muffled voices and laughter. These unsettling experiences often cause employees to avoid working night shifts in the building. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Baker Hotel have documented numerous unexplained phenomena using infrared cameras, EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recorders, and temperature sensors. They have captured eerie images and sounds that defy logical explanation. Many report sudden drops in temperature in certain rooms, especially on the upper floors where tragic events were rumored to have taken place. AVP sessions have picked up faint whispers, disembodied laughter, and even pleas for help. Some investigators claim to have seen orbs of light floating through the hallways, believed to be manifestations of spiritual energy. The tragic history of the Baker Hotel adds a chilling context to these paranormal reports. In its heyday, the hotel was not only a place of luxury, but also a hospital and convalescent center for many seeking to recover from illnesses. It is said that some patients died within its walls, and their spirits might still linger, caught between worlds. Additionally, there are rumors of suicides and mysterious deaths that occurred over the decades, deepening the aura of sadness and unrest. One local tale tells of a young man who checked into the hotel during the 1940s, reportedly suffering from tuberculosis. He never left. His spirit is said to haunt room 214, where guests have complained of sudden chills, strange noises, and the feeling of an unseen presence sitting on their bed. Objects have been known to move inexplicably, and lights flicker on and off without cause. Another chilling account involves the hotel's basement, which has long been off-limits to the public. Stories say that the basement was once used to store supplies, and even housed a morgue during certain periods. Visitors who have dared to explore the lower levels speak of oppressive darkness, unexplained noises, and an overwhelming feeling of dread. Some have heard whispering voices calling out from the shadows, while others claim to have felt hands brush against them or tug at their clothing. Despite these spooky tales, the Baker Hotel remains a magnet for curiosity seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. Its haunting beauty, layered with decades of history and tragedy, offers a captivating glimpse into a world where the past refuses to stay buried. People come to explore the ruins, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural or to connect with the lingering spirits. The hotel's unique atmosphere has also made it a popular subject for photographers, filmmakers, and urban explorers. The decaying elegance of its grand lobby, ornate fixtures, and sweeping staircases create an eerie but mesmerizing backdrop. However, visitors are warned to exercise caution, as the building's structural integrity is compromised in places, adding a real danger to the thrill of exploration. The city of Mineral Wells has recognized the Baker Hotel's significance, not only as a historical landmark, but as a cultural icon wrapped in mystery. While restoration efforts have been discussed, progress has been slow, partly due to the building's size, age, and the complexities of preservation. Until then, the hotel continues to stand as a ghostly sentinel of its glorious past and its shadowy present. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the stories from the Baker Hotel offer a fascinating look into how history, tragedy, and the unexplained can intertwine. The echoes of laughter, sorrow, and mystery linger in its empty halls, inviting those who visit to listen closely and perhaps catch a whisper from the past. For those drawn to the unknown, the Baker Hotel remains a place where the boundary between the living and the dead feels. The nest a place where memories refuse to fade and the spirits of Mineral Wells past walk once more. The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, just a short distance from the Texas border, holds a reputation that stretches far beyond its elegant Victorian architecture and stunning hilltop views. Known as America's most haunted hotel, the Crescent has captivated paranormal enthusiasts and curious travelers alike with its long history of ghostly sightings and mysterious happenings. Though technically just outside Texas, its proximity and rich lore have made it an essential part of Texas. Ghost stories and haunted legends. Built in 1886, the Crescent Hotel was originally intended as a luxury resort for wealthy visitors seeking rest and relaxation amid the natural beauty of the Ozarks. Its grand design featured opulent rooms, ballrooms, and sweeping verandas overlooking the picturesque landscape. Over the years, the hotel has hosted presidents, celebrities, and countless guests hoping to enjoy the tranquil. Yet behind its charming facade lies a darker history that has given rise to numerous tales of paranormal activity. One of the most famous chapters in the hotel's story involves its time as a cancer hospital and health resort in the 1930s. Under the management of a controversial figure named Norman Baker, Baker claimed to have discovered a cure for cancer and transformed the Crescent into a hospital where he treated patients with unconventional and unproven methods. His tenure was marked by controversy and tragedy, with many patients suffering or dying under his care. The hotel's halls, once filled with hope and healing, became witnesses to suffering and despair. It is from this period that many of the hotel's ghost stories originate. Guests and staff frequently report seeing ghostly nurses and patients wandering the corridors and rooms, as if caught in an endless loop of care and illness. Visitors describe apparitions dressed in vintage nurse uniforms, silently gliding through hallways or tending to invisible patients. Some say they have heard the faint echoes of hospital equipment, distant voices calling out for help, and the soft footsteps of those long gone. One of the most well-known spirits is that of a young woman named Michael, who died tragically during the hospital days. Guests report feeling a sudden chill and seeing a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their beds, sometimes reaching out as if seeking comfort. Others have reported hearing soft singing or laughter echoing through the empty wings of the hotel late at night. believed to be the remnants of patients trying to find peace. The Crescent's haunted reputation is further reinforced by reports of unexplained sounds and movements. Doors open and close on their own. Lights flicker without cause, and objects are sometimes found moved or missing. Guests often speak of the sensation of being watched or touched by unseen hands, especially in the older parts of the building. One guest described waking to find a spectral nurse standing by the bedside, her eyes filled with sadness and compassion. Another frequently reported phenomenon is the presence of a mysterious phantom bell. Throughout the hotel, the bell used to signal meal times or summon staff can be heard ringing faintly, even when no one is near. This eerie sound has become a signature of the Crescent's supernatural activity, sometimes heard echoing through the night or in quiet moments when the hotel is nearly empty. The hotel's grand ballroom and the mezzanine are also hotspots for paranormal encounters. Visitors have captured photos showing orbs of light floating above the floors or strange misty figures lurking near the chandeliers. Some guests recount sudden cold drafts sweeping through these spaces, accompanied by whispers and the feeling of a crowd just beyond sight. Paranormal investigators regularly visit the Crescent Hotel, drawn by its rich history and the numerous reports of ghostly activity. Using modern equipment like thermal cameras and EVP recorders, many have captured evidence that defies explanation. Whispered voices, faint cries, and unexplained noises often appear on recordings, and some have caught shadow figures on video lurking in hallways or staircases. These investigations have added to the legend, drawing even more visitors hoping to experience the paranormal for themselves. The hotel embraces its haunted legacy, offering ghost tours that explore the most active and mysterious parts of the building. These tours share the history of the Crescent, the stories of its spectral residents, and first-hand accounts from guests and staff. For many visitors, the experience is a thrilling combination of history, mystery, and supernatural intrigue. Beyond the ghosts of the hospital days, the Crescent has a long history filled with other tragedies and legends that fuel its eerie atmosphere. Fires, unexplained deaths, and mysterious disappearances have all contributed to the feeling that the hotel is a place where the veil between the living and the dead is thin. Despite its haunted reputation, the Crescent Hotel remains a beloved and vibrant destination. Its blend of historic charm and supernatural allure attracts visitors year-round. From history buffs and vacationers to ghost hunters and thrill seekers, whether guests encounter the paranormal or not, the hotel offers an unforgettable experience, steeped in mystery and the echoes of the past. The Crescent story is a reminder of how history, tragedy, and human emotion can intertwine to create a place that feels alive with unseen presence. It stands not just as a hotel, but as a keeper of memories, both joyful and sorrowful, and a home to spirits who may never have found peace. For those who step inside its doors, the Crescent Hotel offers more than just a night's stay. It invites them to walk alongside the ghosts of history, to listen to the whispers of time, and to experience the haunting beauty of America's most haunted hotel. The San Antonio Missions, a series of historic Spanish colonial missions stretching across the southern part of San Antonio, Texas, hold a deep cultural and spiritual significance. These missions, including Mission San Jose, Mission Concepcion San Juan Capistrano, and Mission Espada, were established in the 18th century as part of Spain's efforts to colonize and convert Native American populations to Christianity. More than just religious centers, the missions became vibrant communities where Native Americans and Spanish settlers lived, worked, and worshipped side by side. But beneath their serene adobe walls and sprawling grounds lies a complex history marked by conflict, cultural exchange, and tragedy. A history that some say has left behind restless spirits and paranormal phenomena. Visitors to the San Antonio Missions often remark on the profound atmosphere that pervades the grounds. Many describe a sense of solemnity, as if the past is alive and present. This feeling is heightened by numerous reports of ghostly activity and unexplained sounds. which have fueled stories of hauntings linked to both the Native American inhabitants and the Spanish missionaries who once walked these halls. One of the most common experiences shared by visitors and staff alike is the sound of chanting echoing through the quiet mission courtyards during the early morning or late evening hours. These chants, often described as ethereal and haunting, seem to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Some believe these voices are remnants of Native American ceremonies, prayers offered by those who lived and died at the missions centuries ago. Others think they might be the echoes of Spanish missionaries calling their flock to worship or marking special religious occasions. Unexplained footsteps are another frequent occurrence. Visitors report hearing the steady pace of someone walking across the stone floors or gravel paths, only to find no one there when they look. In particular, the Mission San, with its large convento residence for the missionaries, is known for these phantom footsteps that sometimes follow visitors as they explore the hallways and gardens. The spirits said to haunt the missions are often linked to the lives and struggles of the Native American communities who were brought to the missions. These indigenous peoples faced immense hardship, from forced relocation and cultural upheaval to disease and harsh living conditions. It is believed that the sorrow and resilience of these people still linger in the air, manifesting as soft whispers, sudden chills, or the sensation of being watched. Otemisión Concepción. Some visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures dressed in traditional Native American clothing or Spanish robes, moving silently through the courtyards or near the old church walls. These apparitions are described as translucent but distinct, sometimes appearing to reenact daily life or religious rituals from long ago. Others have witnessed flickering lights or orbs hovering near the altars and along the mission pathways, adding to the sense of supernatural presence. The story of the mission's hauntings is further complicated by the tragic events that occurred throughout their history. Battles and skirmishes between native tribes and Spanish forces left many dead on these grounds. There are accounts of unmarked graves scattered around the missions, and some say that restless souls have never found peace. Visitors have occasionally reported hearing cries for help or the clash of distant weapons, as if the land itself remembers the violence and turmoil it has witnessed. Local legends tell of particular spirits associated with the missions. At Mission San Juan Capistrano, there is talk of a Native American woman who died young, her spirit said to wander the area near the old living quarters. Witnesses claim to have felt a sudden drop in temperature and seen a figure in traditional dress before it vanishes into the trees. Similarly, stories circulate about a Spanish priest who remained devoted to his flock even after death. His ghost believed to appear during special church services, or when visitors show deep respect for the site's history. Staff members who work at the missions also share their experiences. Security guards on night shifts have reported hearing footsteps echoing through the empty corridors, doors gently closing on their own, and lights flickering without explanation. One guard described an incident where he heard a faint melody, possibly a hymn or a prayer, drifting through the darkness, only to find no source for the music. Cleaning crews have reported feeling sudden chills or the sensation of being touched by unseen hands, further reinforcing the idea that the missions are inhabited by more than just memories. Paranormal investigators have long been interested in the San Antonio missions, due to their layered history and numerous haunting reports. Using specialized equipment like EVP recorders and infrared cameras, investigators have captured sounds and images that defy rational explanation. Some EVPs reveal voices speaking in Spanish or indigenous languages, sometimes praying or calling out names. Thermal cameras have picked up unexplained cold spots and faint shadow figures moving just beyond the edges of vision. Despite the paranormal activity, the missions remain vibrant, cultural, and spiritual centers. They are still used for worship and community gatherings, bridging centuries of history. Many locals believe that the spirits are not malevolent, but rather guardians of the heritage and memories held within the mission walls. Some see the hauntings as a form of respect, a reminder of the lives sacrificed, the cultures intertwined, and the faith that has endured through hardship. Visitors often leave the San Antonio missions with a heightened sense of connection to the past. Whether or not they experience paranormal phenomena, they sense the weight of history and the presence of those who came before. The missions offer a rare chance to walk through a living museum, where the echoes of Native American prayers and Spanish hymns mingle with the whispers of the past. For those drawn to the supernatural, the missions provide a deeply atmospheric setting to explore stories of spirits caught between worlds. For others, the haunted tales serve to deepen appreciation of the cultural and historical significance of these sites. The San Antonio missions stand as a testament to endurance of people, of culture, and of memory. In their quiet courtyards and ancient walls, the past never truly fades away. Instead, it lingers, seen and unseen, heard and unheard, a living thread connecting the present with centuries gone by. Whether you come seeking history, spirituality, or the thrill of the paranormal, the San Antonio missions offer a journey into a world where faith, tragedy, and mystery intertwine, and where the spirits of Native Americans and Spanish missionaries still walk among the living.
The USS Lexington, proudly docked in Corpus Christi, Texas, stands as a monumental testament to American naval history. Known affectionately as the Blue Ghost, this aircraft carrier served with distinction during World War II, participating in numerous battles across the Pacific theater. After decades of service, the Lexington was decommissioned and transformed into a museum, drawing thousands of visitors eager to explore its massive decks, historic aircraft, and the stories of bravery embedded within its steel hull. Yet, beyond the historical artifacts and educational exhibits lies a different kind of story. One of unexplained phenomena, ghostly sightings, and strange electronic disturbances that have earned the USS Lexington a reputation as one of Texas' most haunted locations. Visitors to the USS Lexington Museum often describe their experiences as both awe-inspiring and unnerving. While the ship's sheer size and historical significance command respect, many are drawn to the tales of paranormal activity reported over the years. From shadowy figures glimpsed in dimly lit passageways to disembodied voices echoing through empty compartments, the carrier seems to harbor spirits from its storied past, unable or unwilling to leave the ship behind. One of the most common reports from visitors and staff alike is the sound of voices and footsteps in areas long abandoned or off-limits to the public. Some hear muffled conversations, as if sailors are still going about their duties, while others catch fragments of laughter, commands, or warnings, sounds that abruptly cease when approached. These auditory experiences often occur during quiet hours when the museum is nearly empty, adding to their eerie effect. Shadow figures are also frequently described. Witnesses report seeing fleeting glimpses of silhouettes moving just beyond the corner of their eyes, sometimes dressed in vintage naval uniforms. These apparitions often appear in the crew's quarters, engine rooms, or narrow passageways, spaces where sailors once lived and worked under the pressures of war. Some visitors claim to have seen ghostly shapes standing at the foot of staircases or appearing suddenly at the end of corridors before vanishing. The USS Lexington's paranormal reputation is further amplified by reports of strange electronic disturbances. Numerous visitors and staff have experienced cameras and cell phones malfunctioning inexplicably while aboard the ship. Some digital devices shut down without warning, while others capture images distorted by static or unexpected light anomalies. Electronic voice phenomena, EVP. Sessions conducted by Paranormal. Investigators have also recorded unexplained voices and sounds, adding a scientific element to the mysterious occurrences. The ship has haunted history is often linked to the sacrifices made by the men who served aboard during World War II. Thousands of sailors called the Lexington home during their deployments, facing danger and uncertainty daily. The intensity of battle, the camaraderie, and sometimes tragic loss of life have left an emotional imprint believed by some to persist in the form of lingering spirits. Among the most compelling stories is that of a sailor who died tragically during the ship's active service. Some say his restless spirit continues to roam the decks, occasionally making his presence known through sudden drops in temperature or faint whispers heard by museum guides. Others recount an experience in the engine room, where a visitor felt a sudden brush against their arm despite being alone, followed by the distinct sound of a wrench dropping to the floor. Crew members from the museum's early days also shared their encounters. One maintenance worker reported hearing footsteps climbing the ladder behind him late at night, only to turn and see nothing. Another employee described lights flickering and turning on and off in unoccupied areas, sometimes synchronized with unexplained knocking sounds on bulkheads. The ship's infirmary and sickbay have become focal points for paranormal activity. Visitors report hearing cries of pain or soft moaning, believed to be echoes of wounded sailors tended to during the war. Some have seen shadowy figures seated or lying on cots, disappearing when approached. The heavy emotional energy of healing and suffering is thought to linger in these confined spaces. Despite these eerie happenings, the USS Lexington remains a place of reverence and education. The museum staff embraces its haunted reputation with respect and curiosity, often incorporating ghost stories into guided tours and special nighttime events. These programs allow visitors to explore the ship's history alongside its supernatural legends, creating a unique and immersive experience. Paranormal investigation groups regularly visit the Lexington, drawn by the consistent reports of ghostly activity. Equipped with thermal imaging cameras, EVP recorders, and electromagnetic field meters, they seek to capture evidence of the unexplained. Many investigations have produced intriguing results, from unexplained temperature fluctuations to voices calling out Sailor S names. While skeptics debate the origins of these phenomena, the experiences of witnesses and the data collected fuel ongoing fascination. The ship's haunting is often described as subtle rather than frightening. Many who encounter the spirits aboard the Lexington speak of a quiet presence, protective, watchful, and sometimes curious. It is as if the souls aboard the ship continue their duties, safeguarding their vessel and welcoming those who come to remember them. Visitors who spend time on the USS Lexington frequently leave with a deepened sense of connection to history. The paranormal experiences, whether believed or not, add a layer of humanity to the steel and machinery. They serve as reminders that behind every ship, every battle, and every historical fact are the lives of individuals who endured hardship and sacrifice. The USS Lexington stands not only as a monument to American naval power, but also as a vessel carrying the memories and spirits of those who served. For those who explore its decks, the echoes of the past may be heard in whispers, footsteps, and flickering lights, reminders that some stories are never fully told, and some spirits never fully rest.
The Old Red Museum in Dallas, Texas, stands as a striking example of Romanesque Revival architecture. Its deep red sandstone walls and towering turrets making it a landmark in the city's historic district. Originally built in 1892 as the Dallas County Courthouse, the building served as a center of law, justice, and sometimes harsh punishment for nearly 7 decades. Today, it functions as a museum dedicated to Texas history and culture, welcoming visitors to explore its grand halls and exhibits. Yet, beneath its elegant exterior lies a darker legacy, one filled with stories of restless spirits, ghostly judges, imprisoned souls, and unexplained supernatural phenomena that have fascinated locals and visitors alike. The courthouse was the site of countless trials, many of which ended with convictions and harsh sentences. In an era when justice was swift and often unforgiving, the building bore witness to human drama at its most intense, grueling courtroom battles. The somber sentencing of criminals and the tormented lives of prisoners confined behind its walls. This history of conflict, punishment, and human suffering is said to have left a spiritual imprint, giving rise to the paranormal tales associated with the Old Red Museum. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the presence of ghostly judges. Visitors and museum staff have described seeing shadowy figures dressed in old-fashioned judicial robes, sometimes seated solemnly on benches or standing near the judge's podium in what once was the courtroom. These apparitions are often seen during quiet moments when the museum is nearly empty, their expressions grave and focused, as if still presiding over cases long past. Some witnesses say the judges appear to be reviewing documents or listening intently, only to vanish when approached. Equally haunting are reports of ghostly prisoners who seem trapped within the building's walls. The Old Red's basement, once used as jail cells and holding areas, is a hotspot for supernatural activity. Visitors have felt cold drafts, heard disembodied footsteps pacing the narrow corridors, and even smelled the faint odor of damp stone and rusted iron. Some have reported seeing shadowy figures behind barred windows, figures who disappear when illuminated by flashlights. The atmosphere in these areas is described as heavy and oppressive, a lingering echo of the suffering endured by those who awaited trial or punishment. Unexplained sounds are a frequent occurrence throughout the building. Guests often report hearing distant banging or knocking, the clinking of chains, or the faint murmur of voices that seem to come from nowhere. These sounds sometimes rise to the level of indistinct shouting or the slam of a heavy door, startling visitors and staff alike. Such noises have been recorded during paranormal investigations, lending an eerie soundtrack to the museum's haunted reputation. One of the most chilling stories involves a visitor who explored the former Judge S. chambers late in the day. As she examined a collection of old legal documents on display, she suddenly felt a cold hand rest lightly on her shoulder. Turning quickly, she saw no one, but heard the unmistakable sound of a gavel striking a desk. The experience left her shaken, convinced she had encountered the restless spirit of a former judge still guarding the courtroom. Museum employees have shared numerous accounts of paranormal encounters. Cleaning staff, working after hours, have reported hearing footsteps, following them through empty hallways or doors closing abruptly without cause. Security personnel sometimes detect sudden drops in temperature, and a few have witnessed objects moving on their own, a book falling from a shelf, a chair slightly shifted from its original position. One longtime guide recalls hearing whispers just beyond the hearing range of normal conversation, voices that seem to echo fragments of legal proceedings. Paranormal investigators have long been intrigued by the Old Red Museum's haunted history. Using specialized equipment like electromagnetic field meters, infrared cameras, and EVP recorders, they have documented a variety of unexplained phenomena. Some have captured shadowy figures on video, while audio recordings occasionally pick up faint voices, whispers, or even distinct words such as guilty or innocent. Thermal imaging often reveals cold spots scattered throughout the building, particularly in the old jail cells and courtroom areas. The history of the building adds weight to these paranormal accounts. During its time as a courthouse, many high-profile and emotionally charged cases unfolded within its walls. The combination of tense courtroom battles, the anxiety of prisoners awaiting sentencing, and the harsh realities of the justice system created an environment ripe for emotional and spiritual residue. Some speculate that these intense emotions could be the source of the lingering paranormal activity. Despite its haunted reputation, the Old Red Museum continues to attract visitors eager to explore its rich history and architectural beauty. For many, the stories of ghosts and unexplained phenomena add an extra layer of fascination, inviting guests to imagine the lives and spirits of those who once inhabited the space. The museum has even embraced its spooky legacy by occasionally hosting ghost tours and paranormal events that offer a glimpse into the building's supernatural side. Visitors often leave the Old Red with a sense of awe mixed with unease, a feeling that they have walked through a place where the past is never truly gone. The echoes of gavel strikes, footsteps, and whispered legal arguments seem to linger in the air, bridging the gap between history and the unknown. In the heart of Dallas, the Old Red Museum stands as more than just a historic courthouse or museum. It is a living monument to justice, human struggle, and the mysteries that remain when the courtroom falls silent. For those willing to listen, the building speaks not only through exhibits and artifacts, but through the ghostly presence of judges and prisoners, whose stories continue to unfold in the shadows. The Magnolia Hotel in Dallas, Texas, stands as a beacon of historic elegance in the city's downtown area. Originally constructed in 1922, this iconic building was once home to the Magnolia Petroleum Company, and its towering red neon Pegasus sign remains one of Dallas's most recognized landmarks. Over the decades, the building has transformed into a luxurious hotel, blending modern amenities with its storied past. Yet, behind its polished facade and bustling lobby lies a quieter, more mysterious side, a legacy of ghostly encounters and unexplained phenomena attributed to the hotel's early 20th century occupants. Guests and staff at the Magnolia Hotel frequently report experiencing strange occurrences that seem to defy logical explanation. Among the most common are phantom footsteps echoing through empty hallways and the sensation of unseen presences moving nearby. Visitors often recount hearing the soft tap-tap of shoes on marble floors late at night or in the early hours before dawn, only to find the corridors completely deserted upon investigation. These footsteps are often described as deliberate and paced, as if someone is purposefully walking the halls, making their rounds. Some guests have felt an invisible presence following them, accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature or the faint scent of tobacco smoke or perfume lingering in the air. The idea that spirits of the building's original occupants, executives, workers, or even visitors from nearly a century ago continue to walk the halls is a persistent and chilling notion that adds to the hotel's mystique. Another commonly reported phenomenon involves objects moving on their own. Guests have found personal items mysteriously shifted, chairs slightly out of place, or doors gently closing without any apparent cause. In some cases, lights have flickered erratically, or electronics have malfunctioned, often in rooms or areas associated with the hotel's oldest sections. Housekeeping staff occasionally discovered that furniture has been rearranged or small items have vanished and reappeared in unexpected locations, fueling rumors of playful or restless spirits. One of the most talked about areas in the Magnolia Hotel is the old executive offices, preserved as part of the building's historical charm. Some visitors who have had access to these rooms report feeling a heavy atmosphere, as though the weight of past decisions and business dealings still hangs in the air. Soft voices, indistinct conversations, or the faint tapping of a typewriter keys have been heard by those lingering late into the evening. These experiences suggest the lingering presence of the hotel's former professional occupants, eternally connected to the space where they once worked. The hotel's rooftop, crowned by the famous Pegasus sign, is another hotspot for paranormal activity. Guests and staff have reported hearing footsteps and murmurs on the rooftop at times when no one is supposed to be there. Some even describe seeing shadowy figures moving near the edge of the roof or near the iconic sign, disappearing when approached. The rooftop's history as a place for gatherings and private meetings during the early days adds to the speculation that spirits tied to the building's past still find solace there. Several personal stories from guests highlight the eerie yet intriguing nature of the Magnolia Hotel's haunt. One guest recounted waking up to the sound of a soft humming just outside her room late at night. When she opened the door, the hallway was empty, but a faint floral scent lingered in the air. Another guest told of a small wooden box found on a dresser in her room that she was certain she had not placed there. When she returned to retrieve it the next day, the box was gone without a trace. Hotel employees share their own experiences, adding to the building's reputation. Front desk staff have received calls from guests reporting unexplained noises or sightings, often trying to reassure nervous visitors. Housekeepers have encountered doors that won't stay closed, lights that flicker in empty rooms, and even cold spots that make them shiver despite the warmth of the day. Maintenance crews have reported equipment failures or strange malfunctions occurring at odd intervals, sometimes coinciding with reported ghostly activity. Paranormal investigators have visited the Magnolia Hotel on multiple occasions, drawn by the steady stream of ghostly reports. Using thermal imaging cameras, electromagnetic field detectors, and audio recording devices, these teams have documented unusual temperature drops, unexplained sounds, and occasional visual anomalies. Some investigations have captured fleeting shadows or orbs of light that appear and vanish, while EVP sessions have picked up faint whispers, unintelligible murmurs, and even occasional laughter. The hotel's management has embraced its haunted reputation with a blend of respect and curiosity. While the Magnolia Hotel maintains a welcoming atmosphere for all guests, it also offers special ghost tours and paranormal-themed events that allow visitors to explore the building's mysterious side. These experiences combine historical storytelling with opportunities to witness or participate in paranormal investigations, appealing to both skeptics and believers alike. The legacy of the Magnolia Hotel's hauntings is deeply intertwined with its rich history. The building has witnessed the evolution of Dallas from a burgeoning oil town into a thriving metropolis. The people who worked, lived, and socialized within its walls left behind memories and, it seems, lingering spirits. Whether these presences are echoes of the past or something more tangible remains a subject of fascination and debate. For many, the Magnolia Hotel is more than just a place to stay. It is a living museum of Dallas's history and a doorway to the unknown. The whispered footsteps, flickering lights, and shifting objects serve as reminders that the past is never truly gone and that the stories of those who came before us may still be unfolding in the shadows. Guests who choose to spend a night within the Magnolia's historic walls often find themselves looking twice at the quiet corners and listening more closely to the sounds around them. Whether encountering the playful nudge of a moving chair or the distant echo of a long-gone conversation, they become part of the hotel's ongoing story. A story where history and mystery meet, and where the spirits of the early 20th century continue to roam. The oil derrick building in Houston, Texas, stands as an iconic symbol of the city's booming energy industry and its rich industrial heritage. Rising prominently in the downtown skyline, this unique structure resembles a towering oil derrick, a nod to Houston's roots as the energy capital of the world. Completed in the late 1970s, the building was designed to capture the spirit of Houston's oil boom, blending modern architecture with the rugged symbolism of the oil industry. Yet beyond its impressive facade and bustling offices, the oil derrick building holds a quieter, darker reputation, one whispered about by employees and visitors alike. It is said to be haunted. Stories of paranormal activity in the oil derrick building have circulated for decades, passed down from one tenant to another and occasionally making their way into local lore. Employees working late into the night have reported experiences that defy easy explanation, turning this otherwise ordinary office tower into a place of eerie encounters and unexplained phenomena. One of the most common reports involves shadowy figures seen fleetingly in the corridors and stairwells. These shadows are described as humanoid shapes, often glimpsed just at the edge of vision before vanishing when looked at directly. Witnesses sometimes feel as though these figures are silently watching them or moving purposefully through the building's quieter areas. Many believe these shadows to be the lingering spirits of workers or oilmen from Houston's past, tied to the building by memories of industry, labor, or tragedy. Cold spots are another hallmark of the building's haunted reputation. Throughout various floors, particularly in seldom-used corners or hallways, employees have felt sudden drops in temperature that chill the air despite the building's climate control. These cold spots often coincide with other strange occurrences: flickering lights, unexplained noises, or a sudden feeling of unease. Visitors report goosebumps and shivers in these areas, sensing an invisible presence lingering just out of sight. Beyond shadow figures and cold spots, people have described hearing unexplained sounds. Footsteps echo in empty hallways, doors creak open or slam shut without cause, and faint whispers sometimes drift through the office spaces. Some have even caught the faint hum of machinery or distant drilling sounds, reminiscent of oil rigs and pumps, though no such equipment exists inside the building. These sounds add an auditory layer to the building's eerie atmosphere, blurring the line between past and present. One particularly chilling story comes from a night shift security guard who encountered an apparition near the building's loading dock. The guard reported seeing a man dressed in oilfield worker attire from decades ago, standing silently near a set of crates. When approached, the figure vanished, leaving behind only a faint smell of oil and metal. The guard described the experience as both unsettling and strangely peaceful, as if the spirit was a silent sentinel still guarding the site. Another tale involves the building's conference rooms, where staff have occasionally reported objects moving or shifting inexplicably. Chairs slide out slightly from tables, pens roll across desks on their own, and doors close gently without human touch. These incidents often occur late at night or early in the morning, times when the building is nearly empty and the silence amplifies every sound. Maintenance workers have shared similar accounts. While inspecting the building after hours, some have heard voices echoing faintly through the ventilation systems, or footsteps following them along narrow service corridors. One technician recounted a moment when the lights flickered off just as he entered a room, plunging him into darkness before the power quickly returned. Though technical explanations are possible, these occurrences contribute to the growing aura of mystery surrounding the oil derrick. The history of the building's site and the energy industry adds depth to these paranormal tales. Houston's oil boom transformed the city throughout the 20th century, bringing rapid growth, wealth, and sometimes tragedy. Many workers spent long hours on rigs and in offices like the oil derrick, dedicating their lives to the energy that powered America. The intensity of this work, combined with the dangers inherent to the oil business, has led some to speculate that the spirits of those who labored and perhaps died have remained tethered to these places. Paranormal investigators have taken an interest in the oil derrick building's haunted reputation, using tools such as thermal cameras, electromagnetic field detectors, and audio recording equipment. They have documented various anomalies, temperature fluctuations corresponding with cold spots, unusual electromagnetic readings, and captured audio of faint, unexplained noises. Lend some scientific weight to the claims. Investigators also note occasional visual anomalies, shadow-like shapes caught on camera, and unexplained orbs of light appearing in photographs. Despite the paranormal activity, the oil derrick building remains a hub of business and energy sector activity. Its tenants and visitors generally view the haunting stories with a mix of skepticism and fascination. Many embrace the building's history and unique character, seeing the ghost stories as part of its cultural fabric rather than a cause for fear. The tales have become a topic of conversation during late-night shifts or after-hours meetings, offering an intriguing backdrop to the everyday bustle of office life. The building's management has neither confirmed nor denied the ghost stories, but takes steps to ensure the safety and comfort of all who work there. Security personnel are aware of the reported phenomena and often reassure employees that there is nothing to fear. In fact, some see the spirits as protective presences, watching over the building and its occupants. Much like the oil men who once toiled to fuel the city's growth, visitors to the oil derrick often find themselves drawn to the building's unique atmosphere, a blend of modern corporate life and echoes of the past. The haunting stories add a layer of mystique, inviting those who work there or pass through to imagine the lives and struggles of the people who helped shape Houston's destiny. In Houston, where oil and energy have long defined the city's identity, the oil derrick building stands not just as a symbol of industry, but as a keeper of memories, both living and spectral. Its shadowy figures and cold spots remind us that even in the brightest, busiest places, the past can linger just out of sight, whispering its stories to those willing to listen. Whether you believe in ghosts or see these tales as folklore, the oil derrick building's paranormal reputation adds an intriguing chapter to Houston's rich tapestry. It is a place where history, industry, and mystery intertwine, inviting visitors and workers alike to explore both the known and the unknown within its steel and stone walls. The Texas state capitol in Austin is not only a stunning example of late 19th century architecture, but also a place steeped in history, politics, and mystery. Towering over the city with its pink granite walls and distinctive dome, the Capitol has served as the seat of Texas government since its completion in 1888. Its grand halls have witnessed momentous legislative decisions, historic speeches, and the everyday workings of state politics. Yet, alongside its role as a symbol of Texas pride and power, the Capitol building is known for something more mysterious. It is said to be haunted by several restless spirits, including the enigmatic presence of a little girl who reportedly roams the rotunda. For years, employees, legislators, and visitors have shared stories of paranormal experiences that suggest the Capitol's walls hold more than just the echoes of political debates. The tales range from sightings of ghostly figures to unexplained noises, flickering lights, and sudden drops in temperature. Among these, the legend of the little girl in the rotunda remains one of the most persistent and chilling. The rotunda itself is a majestic space with soaring ceilings, intricate murals, and polished marble floors. It serves as the heart of the capital, where visitors gather, tours begin, and the pulse of state government can be felt. But as many have discovered, this grand hall can also be a place where the veil between the living and the dead feels thin. Witnesses describe seeing a small girl, perhaps no older than 5 or 6, dressed in a white dress with delicate lace. She is often spotted near the grand staircase or beneath the dome, sometimes sitting quietly on the marble floor or walking slowly along the perimeter of the rotunda. Those who have encountered her say she has an ethereal quality, translucent, yet distinctly human, her presence both haunting and sad. Some visitors report that the girl's gaze is captivating, filled with a mix of innocence and melancholy. She rarely speaks, but a few have heard faint giggles or the soft sound of footsteps accompanying her. When approached, she tends to disappear without a trace, as if slipping through the fabric of reality itself. The identity of this mysterious child remains unknown, but theories abound. Some suggest she may be the spirit of a child connected to a former legislator or a prominent family in Texas history. Others speculate she could be a symbol of innocence lost amid the often harsh realities of politics and power. Regardless of her origins, the little girl has become a poignant figure in the capital's ghostly lore. The capital is also home to other reported apparitions and paranormal phenomena. Security guards working night shifts have recounted hearing voices in empty offices or footsteps echoing in deserted hallways. Some have witnessed shadowy figures darting just beyond their line of sight or seen doors open and close on their own. Flickering lights and unexplained electrical disturbances add to the eerie atmosphere during late hours. One story tells of a former governor's office where staff members have sensed an unseen presence. Employees have reported papers moving mysteriously on desks and the faint sound of typing when no one is around. This phenomenon is sometimes linked to the spirit of a past governor, believed to be deeply devoted to his work, even beyond death. The capital's basement and lower levels, once used for storage and mechanical operations, are also rumored to be haunted. Visitors and workers describe cold spots, strange noises, and a heavy feeling of unease. Some claim to have seen ghostly figures wearing period clothing, wandering near the old boiler rooms or maintenance areas. These spectral images suggest that the building's history extends beyond its public spaces into its hidden, less traveled corners. The history of the Texas state capitol provides a backdrop that helps explain these ghostly tales. Constructed over 130 years ago, the building has seen its share of tragedy and triumph. From political rivalries to personal stories of loss, the Capitol has been a stage for human emotion in all its complexity. Over time, the energy of those who lived and worked there may have left an imprint, a spiritual residue that manifests in paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators have taken a keen interest in the Capitol's hauntings. Equipped with thermal cameras, EVP recorders, and electromagnetic field detectors, they have documented various anomalies consistent with ghostly presence. Recorded audio sometimes captures faint voices or unexplained sounds, and thermal imaging has revealed cold spots in areas where visitors report ghostly encounters. These investigations have added credibility to the Capitol's reputation as a haunted landmark. Despite these eerie stories, the Texas State Capitol remains a vibrant center of government and public life. Its staff and visitors continue to respect its history while embracing the mysteries that add to its character. The stories of ghosts and spirits are often shared during tours or special events, weaving folklore into the fabric of Texas heritage. For many, the Capitol's haunted reputation adds a layer of intrigue and depth to their visit. It reminds them that beneath the grandeur and politics lies a human story filled with echoes of the past. Some visible, some heard, and some only felt. The little girl in the rotunda, with her ghostly innocence, serves as a symbol of these enduring mysteries. inviting visitors to look beyond the marble and politics to the unseen histories held within the capital S walls. Whether skeptic or believer, anyone who spends time within the Texas state capitol can help but feel a connection to something greater, a place where history, power, and the supernatural intertwine. The ghosts of the past are never far away, quietly watching, listening, and reminding all who enter that the spirit of Texas is alive in more ways than one. The Spaghetti Warehouse in Dallas, Texas, is more than just a popular restaurant serving Italian cuisine. It's a building with a rich and often haunting history. Originally constructed in the late 19th century, the structure began its life not as a place for dining, but as a bustling cotton warehouse. Over the years, it stood as a silent witness to the city's growth, the fortunes made and lost, and countless stories etched into its very walls. Today, the building's unique architecture and vintage charm draw diners from all over. But beneath its lively atmosphere, tales of ghostly sightings and strange noises persist, making it a favorite spot for paranormal enthusiasts and curious visitors alike. The transformation from a cotton warehouse to a restaurant did little to erase the building's past. Many who work at or visit the Spaghetti Warehouse report experiences that hint at lingering spirits from its earlier days. Staff members often speak of unexplained footsteps echoing through the wooden floors late at night or after closing, when the restaurant is empty. These sounds, many say, resemble those of workers moving about, as if the warehouse's old occupants are still going about their daily routines. Guests, too, have encountered moments that defy logical explanation. Some have seen fleeting shadowy figures darting across the periphery of their vision, only to vanish when looked at directly. Others describe feeling sudden drops in temperature at various spots throughout the building, especially near the old loading docks and storage rooms that have been preserved as part of the restaurant's vintage decor. These cold spots often coincide with a sensation of being watched or a subtle shift in the atmosphere, leaving visitors uneasy yet intrigued. One common story involves a ghostly figure believed to be a former warehouse worker. Witnesses describe him as a man in period work clothes, loose shirt, suspenders, and a flat cap, moving boxers or stacking cotton bales in areas now used for dining or storage. Some diners have reported catching glimpses of him near stairwells or in the shadowy corners of the restaurant, while others hear the unmistakable sound of heavy footsteps pacing behind them when no one is there. Another frequent phenomenon involves unexplained noises. Patrons and employees alike have heard distant creaking, the soft rustle of fabric, or the clinking of metal. Chain sounds that would have been common during the building's industrial heyday, but seem out of place in the modern restaurant setting. These noises often occur during quiet periods, such as late evenings or early mornings, adding an eerie soundtrack to the otherwise bustling environment. The basement and cellar areas of the Spaghetti Warehouse are especially known for paranormal activity. These underground sections were once used to store cotton and other goods, and they retain a sense of the building's industrial past. Visitors venturing into these dimly lit spaces sometimes report a heavy atmosphere, punctuated by the faint smell of old wood and dust. Some claim to have heard whispered voices or the distant hum of machinery that no longer exists. A few have even felt a sudden chill, followed by the sensation of an unseen presence brushing past them. One memorable encounter was shared by a night shift employee who described an unsettling experience while closing up the restaurant. As she walked through the darkened dining room, she heard the unmistakable sound of a door creaking open. Thinking a customer or coworker had returned unexpectedly, she investigated but found the entire building empty and secured. Moments later, the sound repeated itself, coming from a different hallway. The employee quickly left, convinced that the sounds were not of this world. The history of the building offers some clues about these supernatural stories. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, cotton was one of Dallas's most vital industries. The warehouses along the Trinity River were hubs of activity, filled with the sounds of workers loading and unloading bales, the creaking of wooden floors, and the constant movement of goods. Life in those times was hard and often dangerous, with long hours and strenuous labor. Accidents were not uncommon, and some believe that spirits of those who lived and worked in these warehouses never fully left. Paranormal investigators have taken an interest in the Spaghetti Warehouse's haunted reputation, using a variety of tools, including thermal cameras, electromagnetic field detectors, and audio recording devices. They have documented numerous anomalies consistent with ghostly activity. Some investigations have captured unexplained temperature drops, strange shadow figures, and faint voices on recordings. These findings have helped solidify the building's status as one of Dallas's more intriguing haunted locations. Despite the eerie tales, the Spaghetti Warehouse continues to be a beloved restaurant and gathering place. Its combination of historic charm, delicious food, and a hint of mystery makes it a unique experience for diners. The staff take the ghost stories in stride, often sharing them with curious guests as part of the restaurant's colorful history. Some even embrace the paranormal activity, believing that the spirits add character and a connection to the past. For many visitors, the possibility of encountering a ghost adds an extra thrill to their meal. They come not only for the classic spaghetti and meatballs, but also to see if they might catch a glimpse of a shadow or hear a whisper from another time. Whether skeptic or believer, those who spend time in the Spaghetti Warehouse often leave with stories of their own tales of unexplained noises, cold spots, or fleeting apparitions that make the dining experience unforgettable. The Spaghetti Warehouse stands as a testament to Dallas's rich industrial past and its vibrant present. It is a place where history is not only preserved in architecture and decor, but also felt in the air, in footsteps that echo long after the crowds have gone. The ghosts of the cotton warehouses live on, inviting all who enter to glimpse a world where the past and present coexist, where the spirit of Dallas's hardworking pioneers still lingers beneath the clatter of plates and the hum of conversation. In this blend of history, hauntings, and hospitality, the Spaghetti Warehouse offers more than just a meal. It offers a journey through time, a connection to the city's roots, and a brush with the supernatural that continues to captivate and intrigue. For those willing to listen closely and look beyond the ordinary, the ghosts of the cotton warehouse remain alive in the shadows, waiting to share their stories once more. The Galveston Seawall and the Strand District hold a beauty that hides a sorrowful past. Tourists walk the bustling streets of the Strand, admiring its historic architecture and boutique shops, while joggers and families enjoy the sea breeze along the seawall. Yet, beneath the laughter and ocean air lingers an unseen weather residue of one of the most devastating disasters in American history. On September 8, 1900, a monstrous hurricane struck Galveston, Texas, killing an estimated 8,000 to 12,000 people. The city, which was then a thriving port and cultural hub, was almost entirely destroyed. The waters swallowed homes, businesses, and lives with an unrelenting force. Survivors were left to bury the dead in mass graves or release the bodies into the Gulf. When burial space ran out, this grim history left deep scars on Galveston's soul, and some say those lost in the storm never truly left. The seawall itself is a product of that tragedy. Stretching for miles along the island's edge, it was constructed after the hurricane as a shield against future storms, but many believe it also serves as a silent memorial, standing guard over the spirits of those who perished in the floodwaters. Visitors walking its length after sundown have reported hearing faint cries carried on the wind, voices that sound too human to be dismissed as waves or seabirds. On quiet nights, some have claimed to hear desperate pleas in the distance, as if people are calling out for rescue that will never come. The most unnerving accounts describe footsteps pacing the wall behind them, even when no one is there. The sound of wet shoes slapping against concrete has been heard by multiple witnesses, always stopping abruptly when investigated. The Strand District, located just a few blocks inland, was once known as the Wall Street of the Southwest. In 1900, it was bustling with commerce, its streets lined with ornate Victorian buildings. But when the hurricane hit, the floodwaters surged through these streets, sweeping away people and possessions alike. The grand buildings became temporary morgues, and many of the bodies recovered from the water were stored inside until they could be buried or disposed of. Today, the Strand is lively once again, but its energy shifts after dark. Store owners and employees have reported lights flickering for no reason, objects falling from shelves without explanation, and the sound of heavy footsteps in empty rooms. One shopkeeper recounted an encounter while closing late one night. As she was locking up, she heard the distinct sound of a child crying somewhere inside the store. Thinking a child had been accidentally left behind, she searched every corner, but the shop was empty. The crying continued faintly until it simply stopped, leaving behind a heavy silence. Another local business owner claims that, during quiet hours, she sometimes hears the rhythmic creak of floorboards, as if someone is walking slowly down the aisle, only for the sound to vanish the moment she turns her head. Street performers in the Strand area have also spoken of strange occurrences. One musician described playing to a sparse nighttime crowd when, in the periphery of his vision, he noticed a woman in period clothing standing still and watching him. When he turned to face her directly, she was gone, yet he felt a lingering chill in the humid night air. Paranormal investigators who have conducted late-night sessions in the district report unusual EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recordings, capturing faint whispers and phrases like "help me" or "it's coming" along the seawall. Ghostly phenomena seem to cluster around certain stretches, especially near older access points to the beach. Witnesses have described seeing shadowy figures moving toward the water before disappearing entirely. Some report the sensation of cold, salty water splashing against their legs, even when they are standing high above the surf. One particularly chilling account comes from a couple walking the seawall after midnight. They claimed to see a group of people in soaked, tattered clothing huddled together near the railing. As they approached to ask if they needed help, the group seemed to dissolve into the mist, leaving no footprints behind. There are also stories of phantom ships visible far out in the Gulf. These vessels, often described as old-fashioned sailing ships or early steamers, appear briefly on the horizon before vanishing without a trace. Some locals believe these are the doomed ships caught in the 1900 hurricane, eternally replaying their final voyage. The eerie stillness of the Gulf at night, broken only by the sound of waves against the seawall, seems to encourage such sightings. Galveston embraces its haunted reputation. Ghost tours lead visitors through the Strand's alleyways and historic buildings, while guides recount the storms, horrors, and the countless spirits said to linger. Yet, even without a guide, one can feel a subtle pressure in the air, a heaviness beneath the island's charm. The tragedy of 1900 is ingrained in the foundations of Galveston's streets and structures, and those who listen closely may hear the echoes of that dark night. The seawall and the Strand remain testaments to survival, rebirth, and the enduring presence of the past. Life has returned in full force, but when the sun dips below the horizon, the wind carries whispers from another time. The people of Galveston live alongside their ghosts, honoring the memory of those lost, while accepting that some tragedies never truly fade. The cries, footsteps, and phantom figures are reminders that the island's history is not just something written in books. It breathes in the sea air, walks the seawall, and lingers in the heart of the Strand. The French Legation Museum in Austin, Texas, stands as a remarkable testament to a pivotal era in Texas history, the Republic of Texas, period from 1836 to 1846, built in 1841. The legation was originally the residence and diplomatic headquarters of Alphonse Dubois de Coligny, the French d'affaires to the Republic. Today, the museum offers visitors a glimpse into early Texas life through preserved architecture, period furnishings, and exhibits. But beneath its stately charm and historical significance, the French legation is also renowned for its spectral inhabitant spirits, believed to have lingered since the Republic of Texas era. Visitors and staff alike have long reported unusual experiences within the walls of this historic home. The museum's reputation for being haunted is closely tied to the intense political and social upheavals of the time, as well as the personal lives of those who once walked its halls. During the Republic of Texas years, Austin was a young and turbulent capital, marked by tensions between settlers, Native Americans, and foreign diplomats. The French legation was a hub of diplomatic activity and a refuge for those navigating the challenges of a fledgling nation. It is this rich and sometimes fraught history that many believe has left a lasting spiritual imprint on the building. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at the French Legation Museum is the presence of ghostly footsteps echoing through its wooden floors. Museum staff have described hearing soft, deliberate footsteps in rooms where no one is present. These footsteps often come and go in a rhythmic pattern, as if a person is pacing thoughtfully or walking with purpose. Some have suggested these sounds belong to the spirit of Alphonse Dubois de Saligny himself, whose dedication to his diplomatic duties might explain the presence of a watchful guardian spirit. In addition to footsteps, several visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures moving just out of clear view. These apparitions are often described as dressed in period clothing, long dresses, frock coats, and wide-brimmed hats, reflecting the fashion of the Republic era. Sightings tend to occur near the parlor and dining rooms, areas where social and diplomatic gatherings would have taken place. Some guests feel as though they are being silently observed or accompanied by unseen company during their tours, adding an eerie but compelling layer to the museum experience. Other accounts include unexplained cold spots, sudden drops in temperature felt in specific rooms without any apparent cause. These chilly areas are often accompanied by an overwhelming sensation of presence and almost tangible energy that can evoke both awe and unease. It is in these moments that visitors have reported feelings of being transported back in time, as if the building itself is alive with the memories of those who once called it home. Strange noises are another hallmark of the French legation's haunting. Whispered voices, soft murmurs, and occasional disembodied laughter have been heard by staff working late or during private events. Some have also caught the faint sounds of music, perhaps a piano or a violin floating through the halls when no instruments are present. These auditory phenomena suggest a lingering echo of the social life that flourished in the legation during the Republic years. One particularly intriguing story involves a museum docent who, while closing the building after hours, felt a sudden chill and noticed the candle flickering despite the absence of a breeze. Moments later, she heard the faint murmur of voices in the parlor. Upon investigating, she found no one there, yet the sensation of another presence remained strong. This encounter was not isolated, as similar experiences have been reported by other museum staff, reinforcing the idea that the spirits of the Republic era continue to inhabit the space. The French legation's history also hints at more personal hauntings. Letters and documents preserved in the museum reveal stories of hope, loss, and political intrigue that touched the lives of those who lived there. Some spirits may be tied to these emotional histories and seen witnesses to moments of joy, fear, or heartbreak. The intertwining of public diplomacy and private life within the legation's walls creates a rich tapestry for paranormal encounters. Paranormal researchers have conducted investigations at the museum using tools such as thermal imaging cameras, electromagnetic field detectors, and audio recorders. They have captured unexplained cold spots, electronic disturbances, and occasional EVP, electronic voice phenomena, that include faint voices and indistinct sounds. While some remain skeptical, the evidence gathered during these investigations adds a layer of credibility to the haunting claims. Despite the ghostly tales, the French Legation Museum remains a beloved historical site and cultural resource in Austin. Its caretakers embrace the building's unique character, offering tours that highlight both the documented history and the supernatural legends. Special events, including evening ghost tours, provide visitors with opportunities to explore the museum's haunted side. While learning about its important role in Texas history, the spirits believed to dwell in the French legation are more than mere specters. They are echoes of a formative time when Texas was an independent republic, navigating its place in the world. Their presence invites visitors to connect with the past on a deeper level, reminding us that history is not just about dates and events, but also about the people who lived, loved, and struggled through those times. Walking through the French Legation Museum today, one can sense the layers of time folded within its walls. The ghostly footsteps, fleeting shadows, and whispered voices serve as reminders that the past remains ever present, whether one believes in ghosts or views these stories as part of the museum's rich folklore. The haunting of the French Legation Museum adds an unforgettable dimension to this treasured Texas landmark. The Jefferson Hotel in Jefferson, Texas, is a grand and elegant establishment steeped in history and mystery. Established in 1851, it stands as one of the oldest continuously operating hotels in Texas and has welcomed countless travelers through its doors over the decades. Known for its Victorian charm, ornate and storied past, the hotel attracts visitors not only for its hospitality, but also for its reputation as one of the most haunted places in East Texas. Guests and staff alike have reported eerie experiences, including sightings of apparitions and the haunting sound of unexplained music that seems to float through the halls, echoing the hotel's rich past. The hotel's paranormal reputation begins with stories of ghostly apparitions, many of which are believed to be former guests who once stayed within its lavish rooms. Visitors recount seeing translucent figures in period clothing, men in old-fashioned suits, and women in flowing dresses from the 19th century, wandering the corridors or standing silently by the grand staircase. These apparitions often appear in the late evening or early morning hours, times when the hotel is quiet and shadows grow long. One of the most frequently reported ghosts is that of a young woman named Mary, believed to have been a guest in the hotel during the late 1800s. Guests staying in room 7 have claimed to see her figure standing by the window, gazing out toward the moonlit streets of Jefferson. Mary is often described as wearing a delicate white gown, her face marked by an expression of melancholy or longing. Some say she waits for a lover who never returned, while others believe she met a tragic fate within the hotel's walls. Another apparition is said to roam the hotel's third floor, a gentleman in a dark suit and top hat, moving silently through the hallways. Staff have reported glimpses of him near the elevators or peeking out from behind doors, only for him to vanish when approached. Some speculate he might have been a wealthy traveler or a local dignitary from the hotel's early days, his spirit lingering in the place he once frequented. The haunting experiences at the Jefferson Hotel extend beyond visual sightings. Guests and employees often hear music that seems to come from nowhere, filling the halls and ballrooms with melodies of a bygone era. This music is described as soft and haunting, sometimes a lone piano playing a slow waltz, other times a full orchestra echoing through the night. The source of the music is never found, and many say it appears to be a reminder of the hotel's heyday, when grand dances and social gatherings were common. Several visitors have reported hearing the faint strains of a piano playing in the hotel's parlor or ballroom late at night. At times, the music swells into a crescendo of violins and brass instruments, as if an invisible band has gathered to perform a secret concert. This ethereal music adds an enchanting yet eerie atmosphere to the hotel, creating an immersive experience that connects the present with the past. The Jefferson Hotel's history provides a rich backdrop for these ghostly tales. Built during a time when Jefferson was a bustling riverport and a key commercial hub in Texas, the hotel hosted a variety of guests, from wealthy merchants and politicians to travelers seeking refuge from the hardships of frontier life. The hotel's walls have witnessed celebrations, heartbreaks, and quiet moments alike, all of which may have contributed to the spiritual energy that many now report. Throughout its long existence, the hotel has also seen tragedy. Some stories suggest that a few guests met untimely deaths within its rooms, whether due to illness, accidents, or other unfortunate circumstances. These tragic events are often linked to the lingering spirits said to roam the hallways, their presence a testament to unfinished business or lingering attachments to the place they once called home. The hotel's staff have become accustomed to the paranormal activity and often share their own stories with guests. Housekeepers frequently speak of objects mysteriously moving or disappearing, only to reappear in unexpected places. Lights flicker without explanation, and doors open and close on their own. Some employees report feelings of being watched or sudden drops in temperature in certain parts of the building, especially near the oldest sections. Paranormal investigators have taken an interest in the Jefferson Hotel's supernatural reputation. Using equipment such as thermal cameras, electromagnetic field meters, and audio recorders, they have documented various anomalies. Some have captured unexplained voices on tape, faint footsteps when no one else was present, and shadows that seem to move independently of any physical person. These findings have only deepened the intrigue surrounding the hotel's ghostly residents. Despite its haunted reputation, the Jefferson Hotel remains a welcoming and beloved establishment. Known for its charm, history, and hospitality, guests are often drawn by the allure of staying in a place where history comes alive, sometimes literally. The hotel embraces its haunted status, offering ghost tours and special events that invite visitors to explore its supernatural side while enjoying its luxurious accommodations. For many, the possibility of encountering a ghost or hearing mysterious music is part of the hotel's appeal. Visitors come not only to experience Southern hospitality, but also to connect with the stories and spirits of a bygone era. The Jefferson Hotel offers a unique blend of history, mystery, and ambience that captivates all who pass through its doors. Walking through the Jefferson Hotel today, one can almost hear the echoes of the past: soft footsteps on polished floors, whispered conversations in dimly lit hallways, and the distant strains of music from a time long gone. The apparitions and unexplained melodies are more than just ghost stories. They are living reminders of the hotel's rich heritage and the countless lives that have shaped its story. Whether skeptic or believer, anyone who stays at the Jefferson Hotel becomes part of a continuing legacy, one where history and the supernatural intertwine. The spirits of former guests, with their lingering presence and haunting songs, invite us to step back in time and experience a world where the past is never truly gone. The Jefferson Hotel stands as a timeless gateway, bridging eras through elegance, mystery, and the enduring whispers of those who came before. The Emily Morgan Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, is a place steeped in history and mystery. Located just steps away from the famous Alamo, the hotel itself is an iconic structure known for its Gothic Revival architecture and towering presence. But beyond its striking facade and luxury accommodations, the Emily Morgan has become famous for something far more elusive: its reputation as one of the most haunted hotels in the United States. For decades, visitors and staff alike have reported strange occurrences, sightings of ghostly figures, and unexplained noises, many of which are linked to the hotel's close proximity to the Alamo and its tumultuous past. The building that houses the Emily Morgan Hotel was originally constructed in 1924 as a medical facility known as the Medical Arts Building. At the time, it was a hub for physicians and nurses who worked tirelessly to treat the sick and wounded. This early connection to healthcare plays a significant role in the hotel's haunting stories, as many guests have reported encounters with spectral nurses wandering the halls. These apparitions are often described wearing traditional white nurse uniforms, sometimes carrying medical equipment or simply appearing as faint, translucent figures. Witnesses claim these ghostly nurses glide silently through the corridors or stand quietly by the elevators, only to vanish when approached. The hospital history of the building also intertwines with reports of paranormal activity linked to tragic and painful moments. The medical staff who once worked here faced immense pressure, and many patients suffered or died within its walls. It is said that the residual energy of these events lingers, manifesting in eerie sounds like distant cries, whispers, or the unmistakable clatter of medical tools being dropped or moved. Guests have reported waking in the middle of the night to the sensation of unseen hands brushing against them or feeling sudden drops in temperature, as if walking through a cold draft, even when all windows are shut. Another layer to the hotel's haunting stems from its location near the Alamo, the site of the legendary 1836 battle during the Texas Revolution. The battle was brutal and bloody, with many soldiers losing their lives in a desperate defense against Mexican forces. The land around the Alamo, and, by extension, the Emily Morgan Hotel, is considered hallowed ground by many, and stories of restless spirits of soldiers who fought and died there are common. Guests and employees have reported seeing ghostly soldiers dressed in period uniforms, sometimes marching silently down the hallways or standing guard near the hotel's entrance. These spectral soldiers are often described as somber and watchful, as if bound by duty even in death. One of the most frequently told stories involves a particular room in the Emily Morgan Hotel, room 502. This room is infamous among guests and paranormal investigators for its persistent paranormal activity. Many who have stayed in room 502 report strange phenomena, objects moving on their own, doors opening and closing without explanation, and sudden unexplained noises like footsteps or soft tapping. Some guests have even claimed to see the apparition of a nurse sitting at the foot of their bed, or a soldier standing silently in the corner of the room. Staff members often avoid assigning this room because of its reputation, and it has become a popular spot for ghost hunters hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. One employee, who has worked at the hotel for over 10 years, shared an experience that perfectly illustrates the eerie atmosphere. Late one night, while checking the hallways, she noticed a faint figure dressed in a nurse's uniform standing at the end of a corridor. As she approached, the figure simply vanished. Later, reviewing security footage, the camera caught a shadowy form moving through the hallway where no living person was recorded. Stories like these have helped solidify the Emily Morgan Hotel's reputation as a hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors to the hotel often come not only for its luxurious amenities and prime location, but also with a curiosity about its haunted past. Many book their stays hoping to experience something supernatural, or at least to get a glimpse into the spectral history that permeates the building. Paranormal tours and ghost hunts are sometimes organized, drawing enthusiasts from all over the world. These events often include storytelling sessions about the Alamo, the hospital days, and the many ghostly encounters reported by previous visitors. The hotel embraces its haunted reputation to some degree, offering guests a unique blend of history, luxury, and paranormal intrigue. Some rooms are specially decorated to reflect the historic past, while the staff is well versed in the hotel's eerie tales and happy to share them with curious visitors. Despite or perhaps because of the ghost stories, the Emily Morgan remains a popular destination in San Antonio. Skeptics dismiss the tales as exaggerated or the product of overactive imaginations fueled by the hotel's dark past. However, the consistency of reports from guests and employees over many years lends credibility to the stories. Many agree that whether or not the spirits are truly present, the hotel undeniably possesses an atmosphere charged with the weight of history and memories. The proximity to the Alamo, a place marked by sacrifice and heroism, adds a solemn depth to the hotel's spectral stories. The ghosts, if they indeed linger, seem to be tied not only to the personal suffering within the old hospital walls, but also to the larger historic tragedy of the Texas Revolution. The Emily Morgan Hotel becomes a crossroads of past and present, where visitors may feel an invisible connection to those who once walked its halls in life and now possibly roamed them in death. Beyond the ghostly nurses and soldiers, some guests have reported hearing disembodied voices calling out names or whispering in foreign languages, footsteps echoing in empty hallways, and the sensation of being watched. Lights flicker inexplicably, and sometimes the temperature drops suddenly in specific areas of the hotel. These unexplained events create an unsettling ambience that stays with visitors long after their departure. The hotel's haunted reputation has even inspired appearances in various paranormal television shows and documentaries. Investigators often bring in sophisticated equipment to capture EVP, electronic voice phenomena, temperature anomalies, and photographic evidence of unexplained shadows. While no definitive proof of the supernatural has ever been universally accepted, the abundance of anecdotal evidence keeps interest in the Emily Morgan alive. In essence, The Emily Morgan Hotel is a living monument to San Antonio's rich and often turbulent history. Its haunting tales offer a glimpse into the lives of those who came before it, doctors and nurses who cared for the sick, soldiers who fought bravely, and countless others who passed through its doors. Whether these spirits truly linger or the stories are the product of collective imagination, the hotel continues to captivate and intrigue all who step inside. Visitors often leave with a sense of awe and mystery, sometimes sharing their own paranormal encounters, contributing to the ongoing legend. The Emily Morgan Hotel stands not just as a place to stay, but as a place where history, tragedy, and the supernatural intertwine, making it one of the most compelling haunted locations in Texas and the United States. For those who dare to experience it, the hotel offers a unique journey through time and the unknown, where the past never truly rests. The Gunter Hotel, nestled in the heart of downtown San Antonio, Texas, is much more than a luxury accommodation. Since its grand opening in 1909, this historic hotel has been a cornerstone of the city's rich past and vibrant culture. But beyond its elegant architecture and storied reputation as a place of comfort and refinement, the Gunter Hotel has developed a mystique that draws paranormal enthusiasts and curious visitors alike. For over a century, the hotel has been rumored to harbor restless spirits, ghostly guests who linger in its halls, unseen yet undeniably present. The Gunter Hotel was originally built as a symbol of San Antonio's growth and prosperity in the early 20th century. With its Renaissance revival style, the hotel was designed to provide the finest accommodations for travelers, businessmen, and dignitaries. It quickly became a social hub, hosting grand events, political meetings, and cultural gatherings. Throughout its history, the hotel witnessed countless stories of joy, sorrow, triumph, and tragedy. These events, along with the hotel's age and character, are believed to have created an environment ripe for supernatural occurrences. Many of the ghost stories surrounding the Gunter Hotel focus on the idea of ghostly guests who have never quite checked out. These spirits are said to be former visitors or residents who remain bound to the hotel, replaying moments from their lives or perhaps lingering due to unfinished business. Guests and staff have reported hearing unexplained footsteps echoing through the corridors late at night, even when the hallways are empty. Doors are said to open and close on their own accord, and lights flicker sporadically, adding to the eerie atmosphere. One of the most famous spirits said to haunt the Gunter Hotel is that of a young woman named Maria, who allegedly stayed at the hotel during the 1920s. According to legend, Maria was a guest who met a tragic end under mysterious circumstances. Some say she was heartbroken and stayed at the hotel hoping to find solace, only to succumb to despair. Others claim she was involved in a fatal accident within the hotel's premises. Regardless of the truth, many guests report seeing a woman in period dress wandering the hallways or standing silently by the windows, gazing out into the city. Those who have encountered her describe a profound sadness in her presence, yet also a kind of peaceful acceptance. Another recurring apparition is that of a gentleman known simply as Mr. Gunter, named after the hotel's founder, Jot Gunter. He is said to appear in the lobby or near the hotel's bar, dressed in early 20th century attire, complete with a suit and bowler hat. Witnesses describe him as a dignified figure who seems to be watching over the hotel, almost as if ensuring everything is in order. Some believe his spirit lingers out of pride for the establishment he created, while others think he might be guarding a secret or protecting the hotel from harm. The hotel staff have also shared their own paranormal experiences. Housekeepers often report objects moving inexplicably, such as towels or linens shifting positions when no one is around. Maintenance workers have heard disembodied voices calling out names or whispers in empty rooms. Security personnel have encountered strange shadows that vanish upon approach. The combination of these phenomena has fostered an atmosphere of both curiosity and respect for the unseen forces at work within the hotel. One of the most intriguing locations within the Gunter Hotel is the old elevator shaft. Long ago, before modern upgrades, the elevator was powered by a primitive system that sometimes malfunctioned. There are tales of a tragic accident involving an elevator operator who lost his life, and it is said his spirit still lingers near the shaft. Guests and employees alike have reported hearing the distinct sound of the elevator bell ringing late at night, despite the elevator being out of service or unused for hours. Some have even felt a sudden chill or seen a fleeting shadow near the elevator doors. Room 503 has also gained a reputation among visitors as one of the most haunted spots in the hotel. Guests who stay there frequently report unexplained noises, such as faint piano music playing softly, footsteps pacing the room, or doors opening and closing by themselves. A few have described waking up to the sensation of being watched or feeling an invisible presence standing at the foot of their bed. Some paranormal investigators have chosen room 503 as a focal point for their explorations, capturing unusual electromagnetic readings and unexplained sounds during their visits. The Gunter Hotel's haunted reputation has only increased over the years, drawing ghost hunters, history buffs, and tourists eager to experience a touch of the supernatural. Special ghost tours sometimes include the hotel as a highlight, sharing tales of its past and the spirits said to roam its halls. These tours often recount the hotel's role in San Antonio's development, the colorful characters who stayed there, and the many mysteries that remain unsolved. Despite the eerie stories, the Gunter Hotel remains a warm and welcoming place, where guests can enjoy luxurious rooms, fine dining, and a prime location just steps from the Alamo and the city's vibrant Riverwalk. For some, the presence of ghosts adds an exciting dimension to their stay, creating a unique blend of history, mystery, and hospitality. Skeptics often argue that the hotel's age, creaky floors, and natural noises can explain much of the reported phenomena. Old buildings are known to produce strange sounds as they settle, and flickering lights may be the result of aging electrical systems. However, the sheer volume and consistency of reports, especially from credible witnesses, make it difficult to dismiss all the accounts as mere coincidence or imagination. The Gunter Hotel stands as a testament to the layers of history embedded within San Antonio's downtown district. Its walls have witnessed decades of change, from the roaring 20s to the modern era. The stories of ghostly guests serve as reminders that the past is never far away, and that sometimes history leaves more than just memories behind. Guests who stay at the Gunter often find themselves drawn to the hotel's mysterious side, whether through a flicker of movement in a corner of their eye or the faintest whisper carried on a breeze. Many leave with a story of their own to tell, a personal encounter that adds to the hotel's growing tapestry of supernatural lore. In this way, the Gunter Hotel remains not just a place to rest, but a living chapter of San Antonio's ongoing story, where the line between the present and the past blurs, and where the spirit of the city is felt most keenly. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the Gunter's aura of mystery and history is undeniable, making it a compelling destination for those seeking a deeper connection to the soul of San Antonio. Ultimately, the Gunter Hotel invites visitors to experience more than just luxury and comfort. It offers a glimpse into the unseen, a chance to walk alongside the spirits of those who came before, and an opportunity to be part of a haunting legacy that continues to intrigue and captivate all who cross its threshold. The Dr. Pepper Museum in Waco, Texas, stands as a fascinating tribute to one of America's oldest soft drink brands. But beyond its colorful exhibits and nostalgic memorabilia, the museum is also known for a lingering presence that adds an eerie twist to its otherwise cheerful atmosphere. For decades, visitors and staff have reported strange occurrences and ghostly sightings, all attributed to the spirit of a former employee who seemingly refuses to leave the place he once called his workplace. The Dr. Pepper Museum occupies the historic Artesian Manufacturing and Bottling Company building, constructed in 1906. This building is significant not only for its architectural charm, but also for its role in the early bottling and distribution of the Dr. Pepper soft drink, which was created in Waco in 1885. The museum opened in 1991 to celebrate the brand's rich heritage, showcasing vintage bottles, advertising campaigns, and interactive exhibits. Yet, beneath the layers of history and marketing nostalgia lies a darker narrative, the story of a ghost who continues to wander the halls. The most commonly reported apparition is that of a man dressed in early 20th century worker's clothing, a cap, suspenders, and rolled-up sleeves. According to museum staff and visitors, this figure appears mostly in the bottling plant section, the part of the museum that was once the heart of the company's manufacturing operations. Those who have seen him describe a quiet, unobtrusive presence, sometimes glimpsed in peripheral vision or standing silently near the old machinery. Some say he moves objects, such as bottles or tools, or causes equipment to make noises when no one is around. The identity of this spirit is believed to be that of a former employee named Charles who worked at the Artesian Manufacturing and Bottling Company during its early years. Charles was reportedly a dedicated worker who took great pride in his job, ensuring the smooth operation of the bottling line. Unfortunately, Charles's life was cut short by a tragic accident in the factory. While details remain somewhat unclear, it is said he was injured by machinery and passed away either on site or shortly afterward. The exact circumstances of his death have faded over time, but what remains is a legacy that haunts the museum. Many employees recount unexplained happenings that suggest Charles's spirit is still present. Security guards on late-night shifts often speak of footsteps echoing through the empty factory floor, or of the faint clinking sound of glass bottles being moved. Lights sometimes flicker without cause, and doors that are securely locked are found ajar the next morning. On occasion, visitors have reported feeling sudden drops in temperature, or an inexplicable sense of being watched while exploring the exhibits. One particularly chilling story involves a tour guide who regularly leads visitors through the museum's bottling area. She once noticed a shadowy figure standing near an old conveyor belt just as the group was entering. When she looked again, the figure was gone, and there was no one else in the vicinity. Later, a visitor who had been part of that tour reported hearing whispers as they walked through the same area alone. The whispers were unintelligible, but carried a tone of sadness and longing. Another notable experience came from a group of paranormal investigators who visited the museum hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. Using EVP, electronic voice phenomena recorders, they captured faint voices that seemed to respond to their questions, often repeating words like bottles, help, and machine. Thermal imaging cameras also detected unexplained cold spots near the bottling machinery, where Charles was said to have worked. These findings, while not definitive proof, added to the museum's growing reputation as a haunted location. Interestingly, the spirit of Charles is not considered malevolent or harmful. Many believe he is a benign presence, a lingering echo of a man who cared deeply about his work and the place where he spent much of his life. Some visitors even feel a comforting presence, as if Charles is watching over the museum and its treasures, preserving the legacy of Dr. Pepper's origins. The museum embraces its haunted history with a mix of respect and intrigue. While the primary focus remains on celebrating the beverage's history and cultural impact, museum staff are aware of the ghost stories and occasionally share them with curious guests. During special events like Halloween, the museum sometimes hosts paranormal-themed tours, giving visitors a chance to hear first-hand accounts and explore the darker corners of the building under guided supervision. Beyond the ghostly tales, the Dr. Pepper Museum offers a rich educational experience. Guests can trace the evolution of soda manufacturing, admire vintage advertising art, and even enjoy a bottle of the classic drink in the museum's soda fountain. The juxtaposition of lively exhibits with the underlying aura of mystery creates a unique atmosphere, blending joy with a subtle hint of the supernatural. The story of Charles and the haunted Dr. Pepper Museum is also a reminder of the many lives intertwined with the places we visit. Behind every historic building lies a human story, sometimes filled with tragedy and unfinished business. The presence of the ghostly employee adds depth to the museum, transforming it from a simple commercial tribute into a living memorial of those who helped shape its legacy. Visitors who come to the museum with an open mind often find themselves drawn to the eerie stories as much as the exhibits. Many leave with a sense of having touched something beyond the physical, a brush with history that transcends the ordinary. The ghostly presence, whether real or imagined, enhances the experience by reminding us that the past is never truly gone. It echoes in the spaces we inhabit. Over the years, the Dr. Pepper Museum has become a focal point for both soda enthusiasts and paranormal fans alike. Its blend of history, culture, and ghostly mystery ensures it stands out among the many attractions in Waco. The tales of Charles add an emotional layer to the museum's narrative, inviting visitors to remember not only the brand but the people behind it. In essence, the Dr. Pepper Museum is more than just a collection of bottles and memorabilia. It is a place where time overlaps, where the achievements of the past mingle with the unseen whispers of those who lived and worked there. The presence of the former employee's spirit offers a poignant connection to the human side of history, reminding us that even in places of celebration and commerce, there can be shadows of sorrow and lingering memories. For anyone visiting Waco, a trip to the Dr. Pepper Museum promises more than a nostalgic journey through the history of a beloved drink. It is an encounter with a place alive, with stories some told, some felt, and some only glimpsed in the corners of the eye. The museum's haunted reputation adds an element of mystery that invites exploration and reflection, making it a truly unforgettable experience. Whether or not one believes in ghosts, the story of the former employee at the Dr. Pepper Museum serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring connections between people, place, and memory. It is a testament to the fact that history is not only recorded in books and artifacts, but also carried forward by the spirits of those who came before. Quietly watching over the world they helped to build. The Marfa Lights area in Marfa, Texas, has been captivating and baffling visitors for well over a century. Located on the wide-open plains of the West Texas desert, this remote region is known for its big skies, stark beauty, and, most famously, the strange and unexplained lights that appear on the horizon. Known simply as the Marfa Lights, these glowing orbs have inspired countless theories, from scientific explanations to supernatural speculation. Yet no matter how many experts investigate, the phenomenon remains one of Texas's most enduring mysteries, made even more unsettling by the eerie sounds that sometimes accompany the visual spectacle. The lights are most commonly seen from a designated viewing area along U.S. Route 90, about 9 miles east of Marfa. Visitors who arrive at dusk often find themselves staring into the vast emptiness, scanning the darkening landscape for the first sign of the mysterious glow. The orbs usually appear as small balls of light hovering just above the desert floor, sometimes stationary, sometimes darting rapidly in unpredictable patterns. Their colors vary: white, yellow, orange, red, and even blue have been reported, and they can appear alone or in clusters. Some float gently, while others seem to race across the horizon, splitting into multiple lights before merging back into one. Reports of the Marfa Lights date back to at least the late 1800s, when early settlers, ranchers, and Native Americans spoke of seeing strange glowing orbs moving silently across the desert. Some believed they were campfires from distant travelers, but the lights often appeared in places where no roads or settlements existed. Cowboys told tales of ghostly lanterns carried by spirits wandering the plains, while native legends spoke of star people or omens from the ancestors. Over time, these stories blended with modern curiosity, making the lights a cultural as well as a scientific mystery. Adding to the intrigue are the eerie sounds that witnesses sometimes report in conjunction with the lights. While the desert at night can be alive with natural noises, whined coyotes, the rustle of small animals, those who have experienced the Marfa Lights often describe a sudden and unnatural silence falling just before the lights appear. In other cases, people have heard faint humming, distant drumming, or metallic clinking noises without any visible source. Some claim the sounds seem to follow the movement of the lights, as if the two phenomena are connected. Skeptics have offered a variety of explanations over the years. Atmospheric mirages, caused by layers of hot and cool air bending light, are one of the most popular scientific theories. Headlights from distant highways have also been suggested, though the lights were reported long before cars existed in the area. Bioluminescent insects, swamp gas, and reflections of starlight on the desert floor have all been proposed. But none of these explanations fully account for the movement, intensity, and unpredictability of the lights. Many visitors report seeing them on clear nights without any nearby vehicle traffic, ruling out some of the more mundane causes. For locals and returning visitors, the lights are simply part of the Marfa experience. They are as much a part of the town's identity as its art galleries and desert landscapes. On any given night, the viewing area can fill with families, couples, amateur ghost hunters, and scientists each hoping to catch a glimpse of the orbs. Conversations tend to quiet down as darkness falls, and the horizon becomes the focus of all attention. When a light does appear, gasps and murmurs ripple through the crowd. Cameras and phones snap photos, adding to the sense that they are something beyond normal human understanding. One of the most chilling aspects of the Marfa lights is the unpredictability of their appearance. Sometimes they show up in brilliant numbers, dancing across the horizon for hours. Other times, visitors wait all night and see nothing. This inconsistency makes each sighting feel special, almost personal, and fuels the belief that the lights are more than just a natural occurrence. Those who hear the strange accompanying sounds often leave with the sense that they have witnessed something truly otherworldly. Stories from witnesses vary widely, but share a common thread of awe and unease. A group of travelers once reported seeing 3 glowing orbs rise from the desert floor and hover silently, before shooting straight into the sky and disappearing. Another visitor recalled hearing what sounded like footsteps behind them while watching the lights, only to turn around and find no one there. A local rancher told of being followed by a single glowing sphere while driving across the plains at night, the light keeping pace with his truck until it suddenly veered off and vanished into the darkness. The Marfa lights have been the subject of numerous investigations, including research by universities and television programs focused on the paranormal. While some tests have confirmed that atmospheric conditions could produce unusual optical effects, no study has definitively explained the full range of behaviors witnessed. This ambiguity leaves room for supernatural interpretations. Some say the lights are the spirits of Apache warriors still guarding their land. Others claim they are the souls of travelers who perished in the desert, their lanterns forever searching for a way home. There are even theories involving UFOs, with the lights seen as alien probes or craft observing human activity from a distance. Regardless of the cause, the Marfa lights continue to draw people from all over the world, each hoping to see something unexplainable. The experience often lingers in memory long after the trip is over, not just because of the lights themselves, but because of the way they make people feel small, curious, and humbled by the mysteries of the natural world. Standing on the edge of the desert at night, with only the wind and the distant howls of coyotes for company, the sudden appearance of a glowing orb can feel like a message from the unknown. For the town of Marfa, the lights are both a tourist attraction and a reminder of the region's deep connection to mystery and legend. They are celebrated in local art, folklore, and festivals, yet they remain elusive, defying capture and explanation. Whether a natural phenomenon, a trick of the atmosphere, or something beyond our understanding, the Marfa lights persist as a symbol of the strange beauty hidden in the Texas desert. In the end, the allure of the Marfa lights lies not in the hope of solving the mystery, but in experiencing it. To watch them dance across the horizon, to hear the faint hum or silence that sometimes comes with them, is to stand on the edge of the known world, staring into a place where science and legend meet. And in that quiet, glowing moment, the boundary between reality and the unexplained feels as thin as the desert air. The old slave house, located near Victoria, Texas, stands as a chilling monument to one of the darkest chapters in American history. Weathered by time and shadowed by tragedy, the building is said to be haunted by the restless spirits of former slaves who once lived, labored, and suffered there. For decades, the house has been a source of local legend and fear, drawing curious visitors, paranormal investigators, and historians alike. Its reputation is not built on grand ghost stories alone, but on the weight of a grim past that seems to echo through every creak of the floorboards and whisper of the wind. The structure itself dates back to the mid-1800s, when slavery was still deeply entrenched in the economy and culture of the South. Originally part of a sprawling plantation, the house served as living quarters for enslaved people who worked the surrounding fields. The building's design was plain and functional, with cramped rooms, low ceilings, and sparse furnishings. Comfort was never a consideration. It was built for control and efficiency, with the lives of its inhabitants reduced to hard labor and obedience. Historical accounts tell of the brutal conditions endured by the enslaved men, women, and children here. Days began before sunrise and ended long after dark, filled with back-breaking work in the cotton fields, tending to livestock, or performing domestic chores in the main plantation house. Punishments for perceived disobedience were severe, and the house itself was often used as a place of confinement. Some say a small, windowless room in the back served as a punishment cell, where those accused of defiance were locked away in darkness for hours or even days. It is from these dark and oppressive origins that the haunting of the old slave house is believed to emerge. Visitors and caretakers have reported a wide array of paranormal phenomena over the years. Footsteps are often heard pacing the narrow halls when no one is present. Low moans, muffled cries, and the sound of chains rattling have been reported, especially at night. Some witnesses claim to hear the faint singing of spiritual once used by slaves as a form of comfort and coded communication, drifting through the air, even when the house is empty. One of the most unsettling and frequently mentioned apparitions is that of a young boy, estimated to be no more than 10 years old, dressed in tattered clothing from the 19th century. His ghost has been seen both inside the house and wandering just outside near the fields. Those who have encountered him describe a sadness in his eyes, as though he is searching for something or someone he can never find. Sometimes he is seen holding a small wooden toy, believed to be the only possession he had in life. Another recurring spirit is that of a woman, possibly a mother, separated from her children during the era of slavery. Witnesses describe her as wearing a long, faded dress, her face partially obscured as she glides silently through the rooms. She is often accompanied by a sudden chill in the air, and some claim to have smelled the faint scent of smoke or wood fires when she is near. It is said she lingers to protect the memories of her family, or perhaps to guard the house itself from further harm. Some paranormal investigators have noted strong electromagnetic field readings throughout the house, particularly in the old punishment cell and near the narrow staircase. Audio recordings made during investigations have captured unexplained voices, with some whispering words like help or free. In one chilling incident, a group of investigators claimed that as they stood in the main hallway, all of their flashlights simultaneously flickered out, leaving them in total darkness until they left the building. The eerie activity is not confined to the house itself. The surrounding grounds, once part of the plantation's sprawling acreage, are also believed to be haunted. On moonless nights, some have reported seeing shadowy figures moving silently among the trees or standing in the fields, watching. Others have heard the rhythmic sound of picking, as though phantom hands are still harvesting cotton that hasn't grown there for over a century. Horses in nearby pastures have been known to grow skittish for no apparent reason, their ears twitching toward the empty fields as though they sense something unseen. The old slave house's dark history has made it a controversial site. Some view it as a necessary reminder of the cruelty of slavery, a place that should be preserved and studied so the suffering of those who lived there is never forgotten. Others find its atmosphere too heavy, its walls too steeped in grief, to be anything but a place of sorrow and fear, regardless of one's perspective. Few deny the emotional impact of standing inside those cramped, time-worn rooms, knowing what they once contained. Locals often speak of a heavy energy in the air around the house, a feeling of being watched, or a sudden wave of sadness that washes over visitors without warning. These sensations have been enough to send some people running back to their cars, unwilling to stay after dark. Even in daylight, the house seems to carry its own shadow, a reminder that the past can linger in more ways than one. Legends about the old slave house have grown over time, blending historical truth with ghostly folklore. Some say that the spirits remain because they cannot rest until their stories are told and their suffering acknowledged. Others believe the house is a kind of prison for the dead, just as it once was for the living, trapping souls within its walls. There are even whispers that the land itself may be cursed, its soil holding the pain and blood of those who toiled upon it. Today, the old slave house is not a widely advertised tourist attraction, and visits are rare. Those who do gain access often do so with the intent to document its history or investigate its hauntings. While skeptics attribute these to camera errors or tricks of light, believers see them as proof that the spirits of the enslaved still remain. The haunting of the old slave house near Victoria is more than just a ghost story, is a living testament to a painful period in American history. The presence felt there serves as a reminder that the echoes of injustice do not simply vanish with time. They linger in the land, in the walls, and perhaps in the very air. Whether one visits seeking paranormal thrills or a sobering glimpse into the past, the house offers an experience that is as unforgettable as it is unsettling. For many, the most haunting part is not the footsteps, the cold spots, or the apparitions, but the realization that the spirits here are not legends. They were real people, whose lives were marked by unimaginable hardship. Their stories, preserved in whispers and shadows, ensure that the old slave house remains a place where history refuses to be forgotten, and where the line between the living and the dead is as thin as the Texas night air. Under the quiet canopy of live oaks in Blanco, Texas, lies the Prairie Lease Cemetery, a burial ground that is as much a part of local legend as it is of local history. Established in the mid-1800s, this cemetery has seen generations of settlers, veterans, and townsfolk laid to rest. By day, it carries the solemn beauty of age-weathered headstones leaning gently in the grass, wrought iron fences enclosing family plots, and Spanish moss swaying lazily in the Texas breeze. But by night, this place transforms into something entirely different, something whispered about in town for decades. Those who dare to enter after sundown often speak of ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and an uncanny sensation that they are never truly alone. Local lore claims that Prairie Lease Cemetery is a crossroads for the living and the dead, a thin place where the veil between worlds is easily crossed. Many of the earliest burials here were of pioneers who met tragic ends from violent skirmishes, others from disease or sudden accidents. The unsettled energy of their passing seems to linger, imprinted in the air. Among the most frequently spotted spirits is that of a woman in a long, flowing dress, thought to be the grief-stricken widow of a Civil War soldier. Witnesses describe seeing her wandering among the oldest graves, her face obscured by a veil, carrying a small lantern that never casts a glow beyond a few feet. She is silent, yet her presence is described as overwhelming, leaving those who see her chilled to the bone. Another figure often seen is that of a young boy, no older than 8 or 9, who appears to dart between headstones as if playing a game of hide-and-seek. Multiple visitors have reported hearing soft laughter carried on the wind, only to realize they are entirely alone. His story is largely unknown, but some speculate he was the victim of a fever epidemic that swept through the area in the late 19th century. Whatever his origin, his spirit seems bound to the cemetery, forever playing in the place where he was laid to rest. There are darker accounts, as well stories of shadowy forms that lurk just at the edge of vision, following intruders as they make their way through the grounds. Some have described the distinct sound of boots crunching on gravel behind them, only to turn and find nothing. One local man claimed that, during a late-night visit with friends, he felt a sudden, intense pressure on his chest, as though an unseen force was trying to push him backward. The sensation vanished the moment he stepped outside the cemetery gates. Perhaps the most chilling reports involve the strange lights seen hovering among the graves. These orbs, usually pale blue or white, have been witnessed by dozens of people over the years. Some drift lazily over the headstones, others shoot quickly from one end of the cemetery to the other before disappearing. Skeptics have tried to explain them as reflections or swamp gas, but locals remain convinced they are spirit lights, manifestations of the dead trying to make contact. These lights are often accompanied by other eerie sounds, faint whispers, the rustle of footsteps through dry grass, or the unmistakable creak of a coffin lid, though no one is there to open it. The Presidio Cemetery's haunted reputation is reinforced by the many personal stories passed down in the community. In the 1970s, a group of high school students dared each other to spend the night among the graves. They brought sleeping bags and flashlights, expecting only to spook themselves with ghost stories. But around midnight, they reported hearing a woman's voice softly singing an old lullaby. The voice seemed to come from the darkness beyond the glow of their lights. As the song grew louder, the temperature dropped sharply, and the group fled in terror, leaving their belongings behind. When they returned in the daylight, they found their sleeping bags neatly folded and stacked against one of the oldest tombstones. Modern paranormal investigators have visited the site using audio recorders, EMF meters, and infrared cameras. Many have left with chilling evidence: unexplained cold spots, bursts of static-laden whispers on tape, and video of strange mists weaving through the headstones. One recording captured during an investigation contains a faint but distinct voice saying, "Leave us be," though no one in the group recalled hearing it at the time. Some locals believe the cemetery's spirits are protective of their resting place, reacting to intrusions with either curiosity or hostility, depending on the visitor's intent. Stories abound of respectful guests who have seen nothing unusual, contrasted with those who mocked or disrespected the dead and were met with intense paranormal activity. In this way, Presidio Cemetery seems to hold its own code of conduct, one enforced not by caretakers, but by the very souls interred there. Even those who have never set foot inside the gates speak of its aura. Drivers passing by late at night have seen fleeting shapes among the stones or a single lantern light weaving through the rows before vanishing entirely. The cemetery's location, surrounded by open Texas land, means that at night it is wrapped in deep silence, making any sound, whether the snap of a twig or the faint echo of a voice, feel amplified and otherworldly. To this day, Presidio Cemetery remains both a historical landmark and a focal point for local ghost lore. Visitors arrive seeking a connection to the past, but many leave with a deep respect for the power of the place and the possibility that the dead are still keeping watch. For the people of Blanco, it is a reminder that history is not just written in books or remembered in stories. It lingers, breathing quietly among the graves, watching from behind the veil, and sometimes stepping forward to remind the living that they are not alone. Those who have experienced its hauntings speak of it with a mix of fear and reverence. It is not just the chill of the night air that makes one shiver here, but the awareness that every rustle, every flicker of light, every shadow moving in the moon's glow might be something or someone that has been here far longer than we can imagine, and will remain long after we are gone. As we close the chapter on this chilling tour through Texas' most haunted places, remember, the spirits of the past linger just beneath the surface of this vast and wild land. Whether trapped by tragedy, bound by unfinished business, or simply unwilling to say goodbye, these ghosts remind us that history is never truly gone. Thank you for joining me on this journey through shadow and mystery. If you've ever visited one of these haunted sites or encountered your own ghostly experience, share your story below. Because every ghost has a story, and every story deserves to be told. Until next time, stay curious and keep one eye open.